Hi there, Safia here from New Habits, and I am connecting with you via Zoom and not on Facebook Live as I had originally indicated, because unfortunately at 7 p.m. today I have a call that I cannot move around. So I thought I'd use this as a platform, and what it does is it gives me the opportunity to use a slide deck, which I obviously can't do on Facebook Live. So the reason why I wanted to do the particular Facebook Live tonight is because we think about, growth and transformation in very one-dimensional ways. We think about it, I've tried something and then I failed and oh my God, so now I can't change, I'm not equipped to change, I'm not fit to change, I don't know how to change, right? And I thought it would be very, very useful to take you through what I call the hero's journey, and to show you that transformation is a process and that there are so many components inside of that process. So as you make your way along your journey from your as-is of your wheel of life to the bigger version of your wheel of life, there are many, many things that you have to consider and processes that you have to consider and make space for and allow for, so that you can successfully navigate that transformation that you are looking for. Part of the reason why we don't make successful transformations is because we don't anticipate what the transformation journey should look like or could look like. And we come from a very one-dimensional, I couldn't do it, I failed, I've fallen off the horse kind of thing. And then we just quit on our hopes, our dreams and aspirations. And I want to share with you this presentation to give you the assurance that there is nothing wrong with falling off the horse every now and then. There is nothing wrong with feeling hamstrung and frustrated as you make your way through a transformation journey. And that if you prepare yourself mentally and emotionally and in all the other dynamics or contexts for your specific transformation, you will eventually succeed in achieving your transformation, right? So let me share my presentation with you. And it's called The Hero's Journey. And I really think that it is so useful for you to think of yourself as the hero of your particular transformation. It doesn't matter what aspect of your life you're going to focus on now. You've had a wheel of life that you did that was rather contracted and you want to expand. And some of the expansions might be easy and some might not be so easy. And to make the transformation that is not so easy, you've got to discover the hero inside of you. I feel like breaking out in song, actually. So, how do I navigate this? There we go. So, obviously, we live in a world, we know this world, we are comfortable in this world, and we are so familiar in living in this world that we are almost oblivious to some of the challenges and the dissatisfactions that we have in this world. So much so that for some people, that even though their known world is an uncomfortable world, they are comfortable in their discomfort and they are not necessarily going to embark on a change knowing full well that the known world is not good for them, right? So you're the hero and you will evaluate and you will see whether or not you are comfortable in your world right now. So I can assume that you know as many people as I do who are in, let's say, unhealthy relationships, whether they are romantic relationships or friendships, but because it's a known relationship, it's a known context, they would rather stick with that than contemplate the prospect of not being in that relationship, right? So when we're moving from the known world to an unknown world, there might be a reason why we're doing it, you know? Sometimes it's because inside of you, something is missing and you are wanting to expand and you are wanting to grow and you're just wanting a change in your life. And sometimes life throws you a curveball. It might be a crisis that comes your way. Any number of things could happen depending on what dimension of your life you're working on. And there's either a desire for change or there is an impetus for change that is going to take you out of the known world, right? Obviously, it's better for you if there's a desire for change, because then you're going to navigate the change on your own terms. The rain's really coming down now. But sometimes when life is throwing you a curveball, you are going to have to find the motivation to make that change and stay with that motivation, right? So when life is throwing you a curveball, you become an accidental hero because now you have to embark on a change journey that's going to take you into the unknown. And obviously, it's much more useful for you to think of this journey into the unknown as an adventure, because if it is not, if your approach is not one of adventure, then it is going to be one of trauma and fear, and one in which you feel incredibly or possibly powerless, right? Now, it will be an adventure if the desire for change is something that comes from you, right? And so what becomes very important as we make our way on a change journey is for us to start realizing that when we step into the unknown and we walk into a new reality, we have to overcome fear. So overcoming fear is, you know, if you can prepare your mind for it, if you can understand that there are going to be fears that are going to come up, there are going to be worries and concerns and insecurities that are going to come up, then you can start preparing yourself for it, and you can start priming yourself for the fact that you are not going into a dragon's den, but rather you are going on an adventure into an unknown world that has got many, many, many possibilities, right? There is so much that we need to consider when we're going onto a change journey. And I think people are very good at considering the logistics and the things that they have to do on an ongoing basis, like, you know, on the external world. But very few people actually spend time understanding what mindset change that they have to go through. And they very often don't stop to consider, you know, the growth that they must do from a mindset perspective. And yet, most transformations is about mindset. So people will start talking about, let's say it's a health thing or a weight loss thing. They will start talking about their eating plans. They will start talking about the exercise. They will start buying outfits for the exercise and buying food for their food plans and containers for their food plans, but they're not necessarily preparing their mindset. And so very, very often, because they haven't prepared their mindset, when the first wobble comes along, they are not equipped to persevere with the transformation journey, right? So mindset work is something that we will talk about a lot in the space. We've done that on the Qualified to Be You full day program. But mindset work, there is just so much material out there and so many ways in which we can work with mindset that, you know, if you really, really are committing to your change journey, you will be able to see it through. So the problem that many of us have is that we don't necessarily specifically commit to a change. And this is very often what happens when life throws us a curveball. When life throws us a curveball, what we do is we just respond or react to what has happened so that we can survive the situation. But we're not necessarily committing to creating a new reality. What we are doing is we are busy escaping a crisis, which is very, very different to committing to a new reality. Because what very often happens is a crisis may abate, or it might go away, or it might go away for a very, very short period of time. And then we slip back into our old patterns of behavior. We don't maintain momentum, and the change that we were talking about, we envisaging, just evaporates before our very eyes. And because we haven't done the mindset work, we also don't have the ability to achieve the degree of commitment that is required to make the transformation successful. So there's two kinds of motivation that you have to consider when you are embarking on a transformation journey. The first kind of motivation is away from motivation. So away from motivation is there is a fire and you want to escape the fire. There is a problem, there's a crisis, there is danger and you want to get away from the danger. There's a manager who's treating you badly and you want to change jobs because the manager makes your life very uncomfortable, right? Towards motivation is very different from away from motivation. Towards motivation is about what is that intrinsic thing that you are seeking out? What is that thing that's going to make you feel joy, right? This is not just about escaping pain. This is about discovering something that is fulfilling to you and satisfying to you, and that makes you feel as though you've achieved something meaningful. Towards motivation is the kind of motivation that you want to commit to and that you want to do the mindset work around so that you can maintain the transformation journey and all the obstacles that might arise from time to time during that journey. I want to say to you that you need to find a way in which to work with both the away from and the towards motivation. They both operate as a system that keep your momentum going and allow you to achieve amazing transformations if you learn how to use the two kinds of motivation in tandem. Now, given the example that I used early on about the manager, so let's say the manager is no longer, manager's been transferred, and you are now no longer necessarily looking to change your job because of away from motivation. But when you become clear on what it is that you want your next job to be and how it's going to be fulfilling to you and what the exciting opportunities are for you, then your momentum to continue looking for that new job is going to continue. Whereas if you're operating on both kinds of motivation. But if you are only operating from away from motivation, the moment your manager is transferred, you stop your job hunt, right? So it's very important for you to really, really understand what your motivation is and to do the mindset work to maintain your level of motivation and to enrich your level of motivation, right? So I don't know of anyone who has gone on a transformation journey that hasn't encountered challenges. And challenges are inevitable, but challenges get a very bad rap in this world that we live in. People see challenges as being something that is out there to defeat them. Challenges are out there to make them, keep them stuck and stifle them. I think very differently about challenges. I think challenges are the mechanisms through which we grow, you know, and there are no challenges for which there are no solutions, right? The problem is just, and that is why this is a hero's journey and not an every guy journey. This is a hero's journey. The problem is that we're not investing enough in our mindset work, in our motivation work, in developing our internal resources so that we can see our way past the challenges, right? Without challenges, we will stagnate and we will not grow. With challenges, we are always reaching past our limitations. We are always seeing into a bigger version of ourselves. And challenges require us to dig deep and to see past what is and to see into and to create what is possible. So challenges are very, very often the very, very thing where people learn how to create what is meaningful and purposeful for them. I know so many examples where people, for instance, become, let's say, addicted to something, and then they find their purpose in overcoming the addiction and helping other people with addiction. I know so many people personally who have had children born with severe illnesses or disorders, and those severe illnesses and disorders create incredible challenges in their lives. But from that challenge, they develop a purpose and a passion and a will to change the world for people who suffer those illnesses. So if we can think about challenges not as things that stop us and cut our necks off or our heads off, they are things that come and present themselves to grow us. Obviously, if you have a challenge, you might start out with a why me. But if you can start saying, what is this gift that this challenge is offering me? That's a very, very different way of engaging, you know, each and every single challenge that you encounter on your transformation journey. So what happens after your challenge is, on every hero's journey, and like we've all watched a Rocky movie or one of those kinds of movies where there is an invincible hero that has to, you know, dig deep and find that last piece of resourcefulness so they can move forward. there are always going to be major roadblocks. It's almost as if the universe comes along and tests us and say, as if to say, you know, are you serious about this transformation? Are you serious about making your way through? What is important about understanding about this major roadblock is the major roadblock is probably where most of our learning and most of our education comes from. This is the major roadblock that, you know, if it wasn't for this roadblock, everybody would be able to achieve the kind of transformation you are embarking on. But it is the special heroic person that is able to move past this roadblock and persevere into the success that you are wanting to embark or achieve for yourself, right? So the roadblock is inevitable. What is important is for you to know before you even start your transformation journey that there is the possibility of this roadblock, and to start preparing yourself mentally, emotionally, and socially for overcoming this roadblock. Because if you prepare yourself socially, you are able to come to a new level of discovery and revelation, right? Very often what is needed in a transformation journey is the people, the mentorship, the guidance, the support, and the ability to connect dots that were previously disjointed and uncoordinated. It is really, really important for us to understand that when we persevere, we come closer and closer to achieving the results we are looking for, right? With that discovery and with the revelation that comes, you are able to put things in motion and reorganize your thoughts, reorganize the pieces of your transformation so that you can eventually make your way through to the goal that you are looking for. And once that goal is achieved, you know, I know so many people, and I speak for myself when I talk about this hero's journey, when we achieve our goals, we don't necessarily stop to celebrate that goal. What is so important for us to do is that when we achieve goals and milestones from, you know, our start point, as we journey along to the end point, there are many, many milestones. What is so important for us to do is to start having the willingness and the ability to celebrate the achievement of those milestones and the eventual goal, right? And, you know, when we keep pushing through and showing up for our hopes and our dreams, we eventually achieve the transformation. And the funny thing is, for so many of the transformations that we go through, we forget that we didn't know how to not do something or not achieve something before. I think about myself. Let's say something as simple as driving. I don't remember not knowing how to drive. It is so embedded in my mind and muscle that I wouldn't know how to not know how to drive, right? And there are so many things: reading, writing. I even think about some of the things that I shared with you on the Qualified to Be You program. There was a time that I didn't know these things, and now it's the most obvious thing and the most logical thing for me, right? Transformation means that a new version of you has been created, one that is an irrevocable, irreversible version of you, one that is now unable to not know how to do what you have achieved. I think in closing, what is so important for us to know and to understand and to really, really embrace and take on board is that when we want to embark on a transformation journey, we must have a growth mindset, a mindset about what is possible, and a mindset about I can learn anything if I just have the right approach to it, if I have the right habits and rituals, I can learn anything. And the kind of mindset that says, I'm going to fail, I'm going to falter, I'm going to come undone from time to time. And I will have the resourcefulness, or I will create the support and resources for myself so that I can see it through. It is so critical that we hold ourselves with compassion. It is so critical that we hold ourselves with kindness and mercy so that we can make it through the hero's journey. It is so unfortunate that too many people have too many dreams and hopes that are not realized purely because they can't make their way to maintaining their commitment as they struggle through their transformation journey. What is so important for us to understand about a transformation journey in one part of our life is that the discipline and the skill and the relationship that we have with ourselves changes and alters, so much so that it gives us a sense of belief and the buy-in that we can achieve many and any other transformation. So my invitation to you is to think about your own expansion, to reflect back to the Wheel of Life that we did together, to reflect back to what is the thing that you committed that you wanted to go on your transformation journey on. And if there are any questions that you have, any thoughts and ideas that you have around this, to start either asking me those questions or applying those thoughts and ideas, because whatever transformation it is that you committed to embarking on, I want to absolutely guarantee that you are able to achieve with compassion and with patience for yourself. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I will check in with you during the course of the week. Bye-bye.